Sergeant Major Thomas Patrick Payne, thank you for joining us on the Illinois Channel. It's an honor to be with you. And you're joining us from Fort Bragg, and I believe it's just 1 week ago you received the Medal of Honor at the White House, so congratulations on that. Thank you for your tremendous service to the nation. We want to share your story with our viewers who frankly will be watching, I think, from around the world thanks to the internet. Let me, before we start, just bring up for the people who, so they can see just what happened on September 11 at the White House. And Sergeant, what was that experience like? I imagine you never imagined you'd be standing at the White House with the President of the United States.
Yes, sir. It was a pretty special moment for my family and my teammates. You know, the Army, looking out into the crowd, you see the senior leaders of the military, you see my family. I kind of saw my son grow up right in front of my eyes, and I've never told him the full story. And so for my son to hear the story from the president for the first time was a pretty special moment for me. So seeing his facial expressions.
How many children do you have?
I have 3, sir.
3. Were they impressed? Did they? I know they're young, but did they? You're only 36 years old, as I understand it. Did they understand what was going on? How much did they appreciate what Daddy's doing?
Yeah, I'm still their dad. They're a little young, so maybe they'll figure out later on in life. But I'm just still dad to them, so it's all right.
Before we get into all the details of the story, one thing I'm curious about. So, the action that you got the Medal of Honor for, as I understand it, was October 22nd of 2015. As we just said, you received the Medal of Honor almost 5 years later. When did you find out that you were up for the Medal of Honor, and when did you find out that you actually were going to be a recipient?
Yes, sir. So immediately after the Hawaii hostage rescue raid, my chain of command informed me that they were recommending me for the Distinguished Service Cross, which is a truly honor in itself. And then after that, right before the Distinguished Service Cross ceremony, my chain of command informed me that they were recommending me for the Medal of Honor. However, nothing's official until you receive that call from the president. And I received a call from the president, and it was a pretty special moment, you know, surrounded by my teammates, being able to take that call with them. And it was, it was a quick conversation, but it was an awesome experience for us.
I would imagine that what happens is that you get a call. Were you anticipating this, or did you pick up the call and it says, "This is the White House calling, can you hold for the president"?
Oh, they kind of it was a little bit of a surprise. They didn't tell me it was the president, so they just told me that it was a senior DoD official giving me a call, and so I was kind of wondering who this might be. So I gathered some of my teammates, and then they said, "Please hold for the president of the United States," and yeah, that was it. It was a pretty special moment for us.
The Illinois Channel carried the ceremony at the White House when you received the medal. So we just had the video we showed. Did you get a chance? What happens? And we'll spend the majority of our time going into what happened in Iraq. But as you receive the medal, do they have a reception with the president, or what happens? Or do you just kind of go on your way and now you're a Medal of Honor winner?
You know, I'm looking forward to getting back to work. So that's a good thing. It was a great ceremony for us. Share the moment, share the stage with my family, with the president. It was a great moment for us. I kind of look out in the crowd and you see, see my family, kind of just highlight, going through my, just great memories with my family. So that was a pretty remarkable.
As I understand it, you have 2 brothers and they're both in the service. Is that right? One in the Army and I think one in the Air Force?
Yes, sir. We come from a family of service. My father's a police officer. My brother served in the military, and I have numerous family members that continue to serve in the Army. And also, my wife's a nurse, so it's a kind of a family of service.
Well, we thank you for that. Are you the oldest of the 3 boys, or where do you fall?
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely the oldest one now, so it's good.
So if you couldn't lord over them before, you certainly can now, right?
It's a good competition, around Thanksgiving and Christmas time. So we keep it. We have a pretty competitive household, so it's good.
Well, now let's, even before the Medal of Honor, you were what I would say is an outstanding soldier. I know you don't maybe want to talk and toot your own horn, but from what I understand, so in 2010, how many times were you deployed to a combat zone? I think you served both in Iraq and Afghanistan, is that right?
Yes, sir. I have a total of 17 deployments. 17
deployments, which is amazing in and of itself. And I think in 2010 you received a Purple Heart when you were damaged or injured, I should say, by a grenade. And give us a little background on that. How long did that take for recuperation? How badly were you injured?
So I was wounded in 2010. How the doc described it, if I couldn't get my knee to bend again, basically my knee had completely scarred over, and how he described it, hey, you basically have broken your knee. Receiver shrapnel in my right elbow, right thigh, right knee. So what happened, luckily I healed pretty fast, but however the scar tissue allowed my knee to lock up. And so I went back home and conducted my physical therapy in South Carolina. I stayed at my parents' lake house on Lake Murray, and that was a different time. Obviously, I was wounded, and kind of it brought war, back home to my parents. And my parents had this old bicycle, stationary bike, and as soon as the docs gave me the green light to get aggressive with the physical therapy, my parents helped me out, and the doc told me, it's like, hey, if you can't get your knee to bend, then you need to think about a different career path. So we got aggressive with the physical therapy. I met my wife that summer, and my wife was a dual sport athlete in college, and she helped me get back on my feet and get running again. And so our first date was running the Lake Murray Dam together as soon as I could run. So it was I think how the president described it in his speech was pretty good time for our family, pretty special moment for my family. So it was a good moment for me.
So that was in 2010, the injury, and I think it's by 2012 you were in the competition and you shared the honors with one other soldier as far as being winning the best Ranger competition. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir. I had the honor and privilege of competing in the 2011 competition as well with Sergeant Dave Bush. We didn't win the competition, but competing in the 2011 competition, proved to myself that, hey, I can get back on my feet and I can compete at a high level. Then I had the honor and privilege of competing in the Best Ranger competition with Sergeant Fouts, and he was the first non-combat arms MOS to ever win the competition. That was a pretty special moment for us, and it was a great moment, and have the opportunity to share that stage with him.
Well, and I think it goes to show a lot too about your own spirit to come back from the injury you had and to be able to be competitive and to fight your way back. Everyone has challenges in our life, and it's always admirable to see how one person applies themselves. And the other thing is, I want people to understand that prior to the action that we're going to get into, where you won the Medal of Honor, you had already been in action and had been wounded, and that has to be something that as a soldier, when you're going into combat, you carry that as part of your makeup, your psychological, your emotional makeup. If you didn't know the dangers before, you certainly did now, because you had already been wounded in combat. So set up the story. Well, I tell you what, let me do this before we start. Here is the citation, and it says the Medal of Honor is awarded to Sergeant First Class, your rank is different now, Thomas Patrick Payne, United States Army, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. October 22nd, 2015, his heroism and selfless actions were key to liberating 75 hostages during a contested rescue mission that resulted in 20 enemies being killed in action, and that's from the Medal of Honor citation. So, Sergeant, that aside from having the Medal of Honor, the fact that you saved 75 lives, I would think, would be quite something for you to carry in the back of your mind, and another honor for you and for your soldiers that you served with. Bring us back, and then why don't let's set it up. Before the mission, you planned the mission. Give us the background of how this came about, how this mission came about, and then where was it? I know it was in Iraq. I think you were having a joint mission with some of our Kurdish allies. So with that, I'll let you tell the story about how this action came about.
Well, I had the opportunity to serve with the greatest men and women of the 9/11 generation. So in the Special Operations Command, we understand that based off our capability, capacity, and reach, that our partners and allies may reach out to the United States for assistance for a hostage rescue. And that's exactly what happened in October 2015. Based off the intelligence that the Kurdish regional government received, there were hostages being held at an ISIS-controlled prison on the outskirts of Hawija, Iraq. There are 2 buildings of interest. My team was responsible for one of the buildings that the hostages were being held in. And what was significant about this mission, if we didn't action this mission, then the hostages would probably be executed due to the freshly dug graves.
You went into, I believe this action at night. You went into what was a prison compound that ISIS was holding. These were Iraqi. Were they soldiers, the Iraqis, or were they just civilians that were being held?
We ended up rescuing mainly Iraqi security forces. So it was a hostage rescue is considered a no-fail mission in the Special Operations Command. So it was a hostage rescue behind enemy lines at night, and we had the honor and privilege to. It was our duty to liberate those hostages so we can give them a second chance at life in the pursuit of happiness.
So you went. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we loaded up on the helicopters, and as we're flying to target, that's when the pilots pass that 1 minute call. That's when you make that transition from really soldier to the warrior. And as soon as we went welds down on the objective, the ramp drops. It's a complete brownout. We're in a pretty intense firefight right off the bat. We run off the ramp, and we're maneuvering to our first building, and we hear that there's a man down, and it's Master Sergeant Josh Wheeler, and my medic maneuvered to Master Sergeant Josh Wheeler to assist him. And that's when our partners needed some strong inspiration and leadership.
As I understood, the Iraqis were trying to blow a hole in the wall. They couldn't, so the American forces started climbing the wall to get in. How much enemy fire did you encounter during the course of that action?
I don't want to highlight some of the things, but what I can tell you is that I was surrounded by, the greatest men and women. The greatest men from the 9/11 generation on that mission. I think about selfless service and the actions of my teammates that night. Master Sergeant Josh Wheeler saw that our partner force they were caught in perfect interlocking sectors of fire. He looked back at a teammate and he gave the command on me, and that's when he ran to the sound of the guns. You think about selfless service. My teammates and Master Sergeant Wheeler put the hostages' lives above their own.
When I heard about some of the action, the thing that struck me is that you repeatedly exposed yourself to enemy fire to break open a lock on a door to where these prisoners were being held. And thank God. I think the building wasn't the building they were being held in at that point on fire, and they would have obviously all perished but for you exposing yourself to the dangers to get that door open. And I think it took several attempts to do that. You can just verify if I'm telling the story right. I just want to make sure that people understand. They don't hand out the Medal of Honor and I'm sure every member of the team went in there with the idea that they could be, that they would all be exposed to action. So every member of that team, I'm sure, is quite a brave soldier serving in the combat. Some, I think, 20-something enemy soldiers were killed. The ISIS were killed during this action. How long did this whole operation, once you got to where the Iraqi prisoners were being held, what kind of period of time are we talking about of you all being on the ground and engaging the enemy?
Every man was engaged in their own unique problem set to liberate those hostages. The first building that we went to, we met light resistance, and we were able to liberate over 30 hostages in that building. And one of my teammates makes a call on the radio for assistance for the other building. That's when I hit another warfighting gear that I never knew I had, and looked back at another teammate and told him, "Hey, let's get in the fight." And we maneuvered to the other building that needed assistance. And we look for opportunities to, on the rooftop. We end up maneuvering down to the bottom floor on the outskirts of the building and peeking the main breach. And that's when I noticed the same prison door that in the building I just came from. So the building's on fire. We're being engaged by the enemy, and we had a hostage inside. So as soon as we were able to breach the prison door, we kick and push open the door and tell them, "Hey, CQB, close quarters battle. Hey, let's get in the fight." And we maneuver into the building, and that's when we hear a radio call that the building is starting to collapse. So we had hostages inside the building. The building's starting to collapse. The building's on fire, and we're being engaged by the enemy combatants in the back room. And that's when it was a mandatory evacuation call, and we had to liberate the hostages from that building. And when we were able to pull the hostages out of that building and load them up on the helicopters, and we're flying back, and that's when it hit me for the first time, kind of what did we just do?
That was actually something I was going to ask. When you're in the midst of action like that, I would guess that you're almost not considering the dangers at that time because you're so engaged, you're so into the moment of what needs to be done, and you're responding to all the action that's going on around you. And then, as you just said, when you're heading back, all of a sudden, what did you think about at that moment when you said, "What did we just do"? What did you tell yourself?
It was simply that, watching my teammates, their actions that night. You think about personal courage, and once you're able to control your fear, that's the bridge to personal courage, and personal courage is contagious on the battlefield.
Does fear come later? After the engagement, did you go, "Oh my God"? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm just kind of curious. You had an experience that people in combat, not just yourself, every member of that team, the people in combat, most people are never going to experience that. I just didn't know. I can imagine being fearless perhaps at the moment. I can also imagine being terrified at the moment. But sometimes it's after the fact that we reflect, and fear comes to us. I just didn't know what your emotions were, and for that matter, were the hostages that you freed, were they in the helicopter with you, or were they in a different helicopter?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To go back to your first question, you try to live the Army values, and really duty. It was our duty to bring those men home, and you kind of until afterwards. And yes, sir. The hostages were exfil with us on the helicopters.
Could the hostages, I didn't know if they spoke English, what kind of reaction? I can just imagine the kind of reaction that they just realized, number one, that you had saved them from ISIS, where they were going to be executed. As I understand it, we had information that graves were being dug, which indicated that ISIS was going to be killing the Iraqis, which is why the American forces, along with the Kurds, went in for the rescue mission at that time. They must have just been overwhelmed with gratitude. and amazed at their lives being spared at that moment.
It was a pretty special moment for us, sir. It was our opportunity to liberate the hostages and give them a second chance at life in the pursuit of happiness.
When you, as we already discussed, you came from a family of service. Your brothers were in the service. Your dad's a police officer. Aside from the honor of having the Medal of Honor, aside from that honor, this must be something that I think really affirms, in a way, what service to not only the United States, but just service to mankind is about, for you to be in a position to have saved 75 lives that were certainly going to be lost but for the actions of the U.S. military.
Yes, sir. It's an honor to serve my country, and I look forward to serving my country as a guardian of this medal.
When you were told that you were going to be a recipient of the Medal of Honor, and you share a lot of company with some good people, most of whom we don't know the names of. At one point, the Illinois Channel, of course, covers Illinois government, among other things. Back in the 80s and 70s, we had a Medal of Honor recipient serving in the Illinois legislature from World War II. But you also now share the honor with Theodore Roosevelt and General Douglas MacArthur. Has it even dawned on you that you are now, I mean, I know intellectually, but emotionally, has it even kind of settled in that you are a Medal of Honor recipient? And to what extent, if any, are you being treated differently by anyone? I'm just kind of curious about how this settles, the reality of it settles upon you.
Yeah, well, like I told you before, my family, it's a good competition back at home, and they keep me humble. So I'm still taking out the trash at home, still taking out the trash in the in the team room there. My teammates will keep me humble. So it's a good opportunity, sir.
You had said when you were going to be, or quoted as having said, that you wanted to be a guardian for the medal. Tell us what you mean by that.
Yes, sir. It's an honor to serve my country, and it's my duty to to serve my country, and it's a duty to guard this medal, sir.
What are your orders at this point?
Yes, sir. Right now, I still plan on serving my country as a sergeant major, and look forward to providing that inspiration to the next generation, sir, and look forward to serving my country as a guarding this medal and as a sergeant major in the United States Army.
Give us an idea for those who haven't served in the military, especially maybe some of the younger people. You're still a younger person. You graduated from high school when? In the early 2000s, I think?
Yes, sir, in 2002. If you have I'll just tell you my personal experience and the reason why I chose to serve. You look back at our veterans community back home as a strong, they inspired me to serve, and also on September 11th, that's when I decided that I was going to join the military, and I chose to serve with the 75th Ranger Regiment. That's the United States military's premier large-scale special operations force, made up of some of the most elite soldiers in the United States military, and that was the best option for me. And I would think anyone looking to join the military, look at the best options that they're interested in, and find the best career path for you.
How did the training of the Army prepare you for not just the mission in Iraq that you received the Medal of Honor for, but just in general to serve, and how America can deploy its military forces and protect the nation from afar?
Yeah, well, you asked a lot of questions there.
Yeah.
So that it's a lot. Going back, I'm proud to serve my country, and you think about the Special Operations Command, train, man, and equip, and I've had the honor and privilege to serve with some of the greatest men and women from the 9/11 generation, sir, and I'll just leave it at that for you. Is
it true that you're a sergeant? Is it true that every officer has to salute you now that you're a Medal of Honor recipient, or do you know that?
I have had a few officers salute me, and that's a great honor. but I think, yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a policy or a regulation, sir. I don't know. So, but a few officers absolutely, man, and I really appreciate that. So, thank you.
Does your wife now have to salute you? I don't know, how does that work?
I'm still just dad at home, and trying to be a great husband and be a great dad to the kids.
Before we go on, I know you're going to do a whole lot of other interviews, and it's good that you're doing that, and we appreciate your time. What, if anything, would you, in general, I'll just throw it, you can say whatever you want. What in general would you want the American people, now that you have this platform that you have, that you didn't seek, but you can be a spokesman to an extent for the nation, for the military life. What in general would you want the American people to know?
Oh, well, thank you for that question. We're ready. We're always ready, and if you need us, we'll be there for you.
Well, we're so happy that you're safe and sound and back home. Are you going to be home? You said 17 deployments. That's a lot of time away from family. Are you going to be back home? Do you know now for a while, or what are you doing? You're going to be an instructor, I guess.
Yes, sir. Just be prepared at all times, sir.
Sergeant Major Thomas Patrick Payne, thank you so much for your service to the nation. Continued good health. We'll let you go. We know we got a whole lot of things, and it'd be good for you to have a little downtime between some of these interviews. Let your brain rest a bit.
All right, sir.
But thank you so much, and good luck to you for the rest of your career. We're honored to have you join us on the Illinois Channel.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.